The Legions of Athena. Chapter 36. High in the skies above Athens, it seemed to be the only battlefront Minerva seemed to be winning. It was greatly thanks to the commander of the 8th Legion, Icarus, who fought as though possessed. Icarus had just single-handedly taken down 3 more Stymphalian riders with his guns. Their leader Eris had already retreated from battle, and Icarus had pulled away from his legion to take care of another host of the bronze-beaked birds. His body was plagued with fatigue, but that was nothing compared to the burning rage inside him. The news of his father's death had turned him berserk, and the Martians were at the receiving end of his onslaught. The Stymphalian riders came at him with everything they had, but it was not enough. Icarus outmaneuvered them at every turn. Soon enough he had claimed the lives of 5 more birds and their riders. Icarus was just about to return to his legion when he heard the sound of applause above him. When he looked up he saw him, floating high above the clouds and clapping his hands. The man who had caused him so much pain, the one who had burned the very flesh off his body, forcing him to live his life inside a bronze suit. The sun god, Apollo. "Very good, Icarus," Apollo said mockingly. "You have improved so much since we last met." Icarus couldn't believe it. He felt as though it was fate that had dealt this hand, finally a fitting target for his rage. Finally, a chance for his long-awaited vengeance. Icarus charged at the sun god, emptying his clips, but the bullets did not even faze him. But he expected this. He dropped his guns and drew his bronze daggers and charged straight for Apollo's heart. It happened so quickly that Icarus did not even see it. In an instant, Apollo had closed the distance between them and bashed his fist into his bronze chest plate. The blow sent Icarus plunging through the air, dropping his daggers in the process. But Apollo was not done. Before Icarus could regain his balance, Apollo grabbed both his wings and pulled him up. The sun god then placed his foot on his torso and jeered, My Icarus, what were you thinking? Just because your daddy is dead, it gave you the strength to challenge an Olympian god." Apollo then pressed down on his torso with his foot while holding his wings in place. The bronze wings were ripped straight off Icarus, and he fell to his inevitable death. But Apollo still wasn't finished. It had greatly annoyed the sun god that Icarus had survived their first encounter. He had also recently learned that Achilles, who he thought he had killed, had also survived. This time he would make sure his opponents were dead. He reached out his hand, summoned it, the holy bow of the sun god, the shooting star. Aiming directly from above the falling Icarus, he took aim. "Poor Icarus," Apollo said as he pulled his bowstring. "It seems you flew a bit too close to the sun." And he fired his bow and watched as his arrow made of pure sunlight pierce straight through Icarus like a laser beam, leaving a gaping hole where his heart used to be. Icarus was dead long before he hit the ground. Apollo put away his bow and looked down upon the war-torn city of Athens and said, "I'm bored now. It's time to end this war." The ground trembled and split apart as Hercules used his massive strength to escape the witch's trap. He leaped out of the long fissure he made, back to the street where he had defeated Thanatos. He was beyond enraged. But Hecate was no longer there. Neither were the capos or the boy, and he really needed someone for the lion tamer to crush. "It took you long enough," a voice said from above. Hercules found Apollo descending to land beside him. "Guess the rumors were true about Athena giving refuge to Hecate then," said the sun god. "Apollo, where is the Titan witch? I will annihilate her for her insults." Hercules shouted. "Calm yourself, champion. We do not have time to deal with her," replied Apollo. "I do not fear any Titan or their cheap magic tricks." Hercules bellowed. "No, Hercules, you do not fear the powers of Hecate. Trust me, if you ever had the pleasure to meet my teacher, even you would respect the word Titan," Apollo said. "Besides, we already have our mission from the God King. Athena awaits us." Where once the owl's nest had stood tall and proud, now only wreckage remained. Whatever had remained of the castle had been completely leveled by the battle between the god and goddess of war. Amidst the rubble both still stood, facing each other with weapons in hand, yet who would prevail was obvious. Athena had already been weakened from her encounter with the Drakon. Her energy had already been mostly depleted when Ares had come challenging her. Despite all his flaws, Ares was still one of the strongest combatants on the planet and an Olympian god. He had no shortage of battle prowess. He had not even revealed half his strength, while Athena already stood exhausted. "Must you continue this facade?" "We both know I have won," Ares said. Athena responded by hurling her spear at the war god, which he avoided with ease, and the spear landed harmlessly on the ground behind him. Athena knew he was right. She had no cards left to play. Yet she refused to go quietly to her grave. As Ares approached her with his enormous axe, she stood with her head held up high. Athena felt their presence before they appeared, 2 beings that rivaled the power levels of the 2 combatants in the castle ruins. She also knew they had not come to aid her. The 2 beings appeared on either side of the goddess surrounding her, Apollo and Hercules. "Are you not done yet, Ares? This squabble of yours has wasted enough of my time," Apollo said. Athena couldn't help but feel disgusted by the sight of the 2 newcomers. "Apollo, you who accepted my hospitality and shared meals with me but a few days back, now you stand beside Ares." She spat. Apollo was not fazed by the insult, but the cocky smile that usually graced his lips was missing as he answered, "You and I both know it is not the war god's command I heed. And you mighty champion," Athena said, turning to Hercules, "you who I aided on countless occasions, who I assisted on your harshest labors, this is how you repay me." "My personal opinion on this does not matter. Orders were given," responded Hercules. So there she stood, the mighty goddess of wisdom, her castle in ruins, her city destroyed, her country defenseless, and her army defeated. She knew there was no escaping her fate. Now that she had accepted the fact, there was no way she was going to beg for mercy. "What are you all waiting for?" she shouted. "Kill me." "No," said Apollo. "He wants you alive." Athena was shocked at these words. Even when she had accepted her faith, even as she stood ready to face death, she was denied her free will. No, she would not allow it. She would not give him the pleasure. She would prove that even the God King could not have everything he wants. Athena's spear levitated to the air behind Ares and shot straight at him. Yet again he dodged it with ease, but this time he wasn't the mark. The spear kept going as Athena used all her might to aim the weapon at her own heart. By the time her three captors had realized what had happened, it was too late. Even with their godly speed, they could not stop her. Then there was a bright light. Athena had hoped it was the light one saw as one's life came to an end. But the spear never pierced her. Someone had appeared from the light and held it back not an inch from her body, but this was no savior. Never had she felt afraid during the war. Not while battling against the Draken or Ares, not even while facing her own death. But now she felt it, fear. The spear turned to dust in the hands of the person who stopped it, as his bare feet slowly touched the ground right in front of Athena. "Must I do everything myself?" said Zeus. The goddess trembled. Even death could not let her escape from his will. Now she would face his wrath. "Poor sweet Athena," said Zeus with concern. "How can I stand by and watch as my dear daughter tries to hurt herself?" Then Zeus punched her straight in her gut, sending over 10,000 volts of electricity coursing through her body. Athena staggered back and fell to her knees. Even as she did, she knew Zeus had restrained his strength. "Tell me, my dear, why do you challenge me so?" asked Zeus politely. "For Themis," she answered in a broken voice. "For justice." Zeus spoke. "Justice, such a heavy word for one to speak, and yet so many shout it without hesitation. Long ago, when Uranus united the world under him, he said he did so for justice. When his son Cronus murdered him and claimed the throne for himself, he too said it was for justice. Even to this day, all around the world, people of every country and race wage war, plunder and kill, and in their moment of victory, shout that they won because they had justice on their side, and that all the sins they committed were for justice to prevail. What they do not realize is that justice is created by the victorious. And in this world, which I hold in the palm of my hands, my word is the truth. My wish is the law, and my will, whatever it may be, is justice." And then the God King snapped his fingers. At his command, a bolt of lightning shot from the sky straight at Athena. The impact of the attack was enough to flatten every building within a 10-mile radius. When the smoke cleared, Athena lay motionless in its wake, but she was still alive. Zeus had made it so that the attack would leave her within an inch of her life. Ares, Apollo, and Hercules waited patiently for their orders. As Zeus slowly ascended into the air, he directed, "Champion, bring her to the capital in chains. Bring her to Olympus." Just before the God King disappeared in flash of lightning, he spoke the same words that Athena had uttered just hours before, only this time it was true. "The war is over." This has been a chapter from Book 2 of the new World Odyssey Series, The Legions of Athena. Links to the books in the bio. Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this chapter, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more. Hit the notification bell so you never miss an upload. See you in the next chapter.